Okay, let's make a start. There's still a few people logging in, so I think they'll be able to catch up with us. Welcome to Thursday's Solid Edge Clinic. These clinics are designed to give you a little bit of training, introduce you to some new ideas, and just generally up your productivity. So, today we're going to be talking about drafting. Not all about drafting, just some particular areas of draft. And they'll be mainly, well, it's on today's topics. Let's have a look. We'll be looking at the drawing view captions and how the styles control that, and some other controls within the system. And we'll examine all of those and go into it in a little bit of depth, but just to give you an introduction so that you're able to move forward and find out information for yourself. We're looking at parts lists and table styles. We often get calls from people asking about how to change the borders and what have you with parts lists and tables. So I thought I'd introduce that a little bit. It's quite straightforward, and it's all in one place. It's in the styles area. We're going to look at some annotation improvements that are in both ST4 and earlier versions as well. We're looking at tolerance and fit tables, which have been around for a while, and some new smart dimension for holes, and how we can program tolerancing on callouts. Okay, drawing view captions. In your drawing view properties, so when you select a property, right click, you've got a new tab in here called caption, and this controls how the caption is set up for that view. There's some defaults that come from somewhere, and they come from the drawing view style, which we'll look at that screen a little bit later. But just to briefly tell you what's going on in here, this box shows what's contained within the caption. We notice in this case it's not shown, so whatever those variables are filled with won't be shown until we click the show. From these icons we can pick off various of these properties, and we have the ability to control these properties independently as well. And these are the important things of view scales, suffixes, and those sorts of things. We'll look at these in little detail when I go through the exercise. When we're in here, there's some. This is the property callout area, so we can link to the properties of the part being or assembly being shown in the drawing view. And we've got the symbol call out here, the little ST. Don't forget about this. This is changed with ST4, and it's really worth taking a good look at, because it's a very easy way to get to your geometric characters, all your symbols in fact. It also gives you the call out for each one, the % call out, so you can use them in your own call outs. We'll look at how to format those in a few minutes. Double clicking on any of these adds them automatically. You don't have to hit the select button, so if you just double click, it puts it in the text. You get a preview of it as well. That's a very useful tool. In the drawing view styles, this is where we set up to show what the default is based on the particular view that we're going to be dealing with. Now, there's section views and primary views, and so all the different views within Solid Edge, and we'll look at those as we go through, so don't panic if you don't understand that right away. The third area that controls this is in Solid Edge Options. There's a new tab, there's a new section in Annotation called Caption. Just briefly, this one here is useful because if you move a section to a different sheet from the one from the sheet on which the section was created, you will get an annotation showing you what sheet it's on and what sheet it comes from. We'll have a look at that as well. So let's take a look. Helps if I get into Solid Edge, doesn't it? Here we go. Okay, so we just want to create a draft from this part. There's nothing particularly wonderful about this. Just call up my my template. Remember about templates too. This is where we keep this is where the styles are stored. So whenever you make changes to styles, which we'll look at in a moment, it'll be stored on the drawing template. So very briefly, if I want to put a caption on here, right click to bring up my properties, and we look at the caption tab. Okay, what's going on in here? It's going to show VS, which is the view scale. Well, I want to change the format of that a little bit, so I'm going to write in the word scale. And that's great. I don't need the VR, which is the view angle. We can, if you rotate a view, we can show the angle in there. But what I do want to put in there is to use a property text call up, and I'm going to say from indexed reference in this case, I want to pick up the document number, select that, say OK, and right, let's just apply that. So it gives us the scale. Now I don't see the scale in there. Why is that? Because the view scale is not shown from here. So if I show it from there, apply that, we'll see the view scale. So we need to have these turned on to show these things, so the rotation angle, the annotation sheet number and things like that. Now what we're looking at here is the caption types primary. We can have a secondary caption, so we can have a primary and a secondary caption. If I set up a secondary caption, I can show or not show it. It's in the style ISO, so we can have multiple styles for these things. You might have different, a number of different metric or ISO styles, and this is being applied, is working with this view alone. So if I just say OK to that and see, okay, how's this all set up? Let's go to our styles and take a look. So in our drawing view style, that's a new one. We had dimension before, fill and those, but drawing view is a new one. I'm just going to have a look in the modify there. Let's have a look at the caption. And principal and pictorial views, 2D model views, that's from draw and view type things. Section views, auxiliary views, and detail views are the various views that we can have. The view annotation type we'll have here is we've got cutting plane, viewing plane, which this one happens to be, which we just were dealing with, and detail envelope. So a cutting plane would be where we've got a section, and a detail envelope might be a detail view. And again, this is where we pre-program all of this information. So you can set up your style, set up everything that you want to have in your style here. The formatting of this text is in the next button, which we'll look at in a moment. But once you've set all of this up, you can go to your formatting, what font, what size, color, all of these types of things, where it's located. All of those options are now in here. They used to be in the dimension style, but we've moved them and expanded them into here. Otherwise, the dimension style was just getting too big. We can also set up our view annotation, lines, and those sorts of things. So all of this is controlled from the drawing view style. Okay, let's take a look at doing something a little different. Let's create another sheet. We know, just right click down on the tab there and insert another sheet. Back to my sheet 1. What I want to do here is to create a cutting plane on this view. And this is all familiar to everybody, I know that, but it's just a bit of fun. And I'll pull it out there, just mucking around too much, I don't really need to do that. Okay, there's my cut plane. If we produce our section view, there it is. But I really don't want my section view on the sheet. It'll get a bit crowded, so I'll go to Properties and General and say move that to Sheet 2. And this is something that's been there for a long time, but if we do that, you'll notice that this changes. It's got a brackets 2 on here now. It says that that section view will occur on Sheet 2, and if we look at the section view there, we see that it's on its master, or the drawing view that it's taken from is on Sheet 1. So how did that happen? Let's have a look at our properties in here. Again, they were set by the defaults in the style, but let's just take a quick look. So we go to our caption. What we'll see is that it's picking up now, it's a section, AS. So what's in here? The section, it's picking up AS, which is a suffix, and it says VA, which is the dash dash. view annotation. So we could just say VA by itself. Let's just try that and apply. And it's just section A, which is probably not what we want. So we want to have a dash and another VA. So we can use this icon here to pull that up and apply that. We could use lowercase, whatever. So these will be, we can set these up in the styles and then modify them from the right click. Just going back to sheet 1, having a look at this. It tells us about the cutting plane properties here and the caption on that, and it says it's VA VN, which is A. The view annotation name is A. It picks that up automatically. We'll see how that happens in a moment. And the view sheet number is picked up from the view sheet automatically. And it says show at both arrows. I can change that so it's left arrow, right arrow, or both arrows. So I just say left arrow and see what happens, and it's just that arrow, or upper and lower in that case. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on here. Now remember that there's also this function here of picking up the next sheet is determined by our options. So we go to Solid Edge Options, we look at Annotation. There's a new area in here now. I think I've got that written up on my slide. Let's have a look. Yes, in the options you see there's this area here, the captions. That's what we had, so let's slip back there. In the captions I said show sheet number if parent annotation and derived view are not on the same sheet. We can say show the rotation scale if it's different from sheet scale, show the rotation angle if the drawing view is rotated. These are controlled by the annotation options. Now there's a couple of things in here, the annotation letters. If we look at that, you'll find it's I. Well, it's got an I and a J. Quite often, we don't want the letter sequence to include an I and a J. So I'd take out the I. Usually, I think it is. And there's some other letters that we don't want to have in a sequence like that because they can be confusing. So we'll have AA, AB, AC, so on, cycling through those letters. We can have list 2 that's numbers, list 3 and so forth, and then we can decide what we're going to apply those lists to. So the viewing plane will be list 1, the detail envelope will be list 1, the cutting plane is list 1, but I could change those. So in this case I'm using cutting planes. For this one I might set another one up in here. For instance, it's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 in that list. So we'd say 1, we do it this way, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. And I want that be for my for details, for detail views, list 2. I can also use just a straight numbering sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, or Roman numerals, or none. So again, this is set up from the options about how these the options to control these. I'm going to cancel that, so I don't want to change it. The sequence that you're going to use, object creation, is the default manner, which is the first view created, the first section view created will be A, the second one will be B, and so on. Or you can follow the defined object setting. This one will say, you can say, well, you want the view planes first, detail envelope second, cutting plane third, and datum frame fourth. That's the ABC in the datum frames. So they will work in their own sequences, and you can move those up and down. Okay. It's pretty straightforward, it's fairly easy to use, and it's consistent. So once you set that up and save your style. Now, the question comes to quite often is, how do you save a style? Well, the style is saved with the template. So if I wanted to save that style as a template, what I would do is simply delete that. Loud buzz when it does it. Having set it up the way I want it, delete that. Just delete all the data off my drawing sheet, and then I save that drawing sheet as a style. So it says as a template. So save as, Where is it going to go? It's going to go into, generally, unless you've got it set up on a server, program files, Solid Edge ST4 in there somewhere, templates, there we go, and I'd save it as the ISO draft. It's this one here. So I just hit the save button. That's my default that would become my default template. Okay, moving along. Back to my slides here. So we've made a change to the way callout dimensions work to save an awful lot of mouse clicks and frustration and mucking around. In the past, and up until ST3, if you wanted to, in this case here, we've got a threaded, I think it's a threaded hole. If you wanted to put the thread details on there, you had to do it as a prefix and enter the text in there. So it'll be thread size by the depth, TD, which is thread depth, thread size is TS, and next you'd have to make the dimension a blank so that you didn't get whatever the actual dimension of that was. So there was a bit of mucking around to set that up. You can see the clue for what's going on here is there's a new way. You can just do a whole call out. So instead of doing a nominal, you select whole call out when you're doing the smart dimension, and that's what you get. So let's have a quick look at that. So I shouldn't have deleted my draft, could I? Should I? I'll use this one again. It's all good practice, isn't it? So you notice I zoomed that to fit. All I did was double click my middle mouse button there. Okay, so in this case what I want is not in one of those views, it's in this view. I want to deal with this hole here. So in the old way, if I just pick it says it's a 10, but I want more information than that. So I can pick up here and say whole call out and pick that up. So I get my proper whole call out information. So it's a 10, 12.25 deep. So that's a much easier than doing it the old way. I think you'll all agree with that. I think so anyway. Okay. It's just a small thing, but I think it's important that we're aware of those things because it does save you a lot of time. Now, a lot of people need to be able to format callouts. In this very busy slide here, we want things like tolerance, dual units, different round-offs. Your default for ISO is 2 decimal places. There may be some that are 3 or 4 decimal places. Be able to change all of those sorts of things and easily format those and set them up so you can recall them. So here's an example. Dear me. And you look at that sort of thing and you think, how on earth do I do that? That's just too complicated. Okay, it's not really if you analyze what's going on. If you go to Solid Edge Help, key in format codes and have a look there. Let's just do that to take a look. So go to Help. And the help comes up off screen, of course. Let me put it back on screen. And what was the thing that we wanted to search for? There we go. It's format codes. Thank you. So we type in format codes, list of topics, and here we go. Now this tells you how this works. And what the format codes are and how they do it. Say, for instance, if you want to use date and time, it's /at, and then you use the arguments for what you want after that. If you just put YYYY, you'd get 2010. YY, it'd give you 10. If you do all 4 M's for the month, you'll get the month name. If you do 2, you'll get the month number. And you can format the day as Monday, mun, or if you just do DD, you'll get the numeric day. This is not that hard to use, but we will not worry you too much with it. So let's just briefly go back to Solid Edge. Go back to Solid Edge. And let's deal with that hole again. So if I do a call out and do a normal whole call out on there, we saw that result before, but I'm just doing a call out there. So it's got that information. But if we want some more precision on there, we want to control things, let's simply do this. Oh, right. What I'm going to do is just copy that. I can copy it off another screen here, just bear with me. So I'm just doing a copy and paste off that. So copy, and then go to back to draft, back into here, and paste that in. No, I picked the wrong thing. That was not smart. Hang on. For some reason it doesn't want to. Maybe if I drag that across onto that screen. Okay, let's see if I can do that. I'll do a Control C, see if that works for me. Yes, there we go. So it's going to give me the tolerance. So if I look at it, I've got a diameter, hole size, and then ST is tolerance, and the tolerance is 0.01 and 0.02. And then they've got the hole depth and a tolerance on that. But in the hole depth, I've also got @3, which means I want 3 decimal places. So say OK to that. We're going to pull that out. And we'll notice there that we do get precisely what we wanted. It looks a little complicated to begin with. Once you set those things up, you can save them too. That's the other thing that's going for you there. So if I come back to here, and I'm going to say, call that hole tolerance or something. And I just save it. So that's available next time I call that up. So if I come back in here, I will have a pull down list of any I've saved there. I've only got that one, but whenever I open that up, I'll get that. Okay. The other thing to remember too is your whole call out again is in, where is it? It's on it's in styles, under view, styles, dimension, and if we modify the dimension, I'm in NC inch, which is not what I wanted. Cancel that. I want the ISO, and you can set up more styles. You can create a new style here, and so on. But what I want to do is to pick up the, just modify that, and if I look at whole call out, these are, I believe these are the default ones. But you can set these up to be anything you like. Just using the callouts here, symbols you can pop in, of course, from our symbol table there, which I talked about earlier. Don't forget they're there. They're in a dimension style that's saved with your template, so it's part of your template, your dimension style. Tables. Now, I know quite a few of us have looked at tables and thought, well, I can't really control them. The lines are too thick, and how do I control the lines, and so on. There's two aspects to this. There's the parts list and tables commands, which are used to build and to format the contents of these, the columns and everything. And then there's the table style, which defines the box. It just gives you a single point of control, and you can have many styles, and you can change styles on a table quite easily. So let's take a look. So if I need to, for instance, we'll insert something. I may actually have one here, so bear with me for a moment. No, I thought I had one from earlier. Yeah, that one will do. Okay, I'm just opening another draft file just to take a quick look at that. One of the Okay, what we've got here, if we look at it, we've got a very heavy border style around there. Now if I look at that, the properties on that, I'll see the table style is normal, and that's all I've got. But I want to find another style, so let me just cancel out of that for a moment. Go into my styles and look at the table styles. I've only got one in there, but I know I've got another one on another draft. So how do I get to that and copy it across? This is where our organizer comes in. So I'm going to browse for my my browse windows comes up, and of course it's not where you want it. It's in there, for instance, this table that I want, and I've got one called Fred. So I can copy that across into this template or into this drawing sheet. We close on that. So apply. Now when I come back to my here, I've got another one. I'm going to change that to the Fred format. As I said, it just simply changes the border and lines. So if we look at that in the style, what can we change in there? So if we look at our table style, look at Fred, modify that. We can change the lines, and it gives you a preview of the type there. We can change the line color type. So if I change the outline one to a dotted line, you can see that previewed there. A chained line, and any other formats that I might have, or none, no line at all. So that's all set up in the style, and we can replicate those styles wherever we want them. If they're in your master template when you open it, your default template, then you'll get them. If they're not there and you know somewhere else there is one, or it might be any style at all, you can use that organizer to find it. Don't forget about the organizer, very useful tool. It works simply by finding something, browsing for in this case, a draft file, opening that, and it's got a couple of draft styles in there, a couple of styles in there. And I can just pick those up just by copies it across into that one. Away you go. It's got help on it, of course, like everything else. Okay, what's next? I'm getting to the end, so if your sandwich is running out, don't panic. This is something that's been around for a little while as well, and has been misunderstood, but it's class fits. When you these have been used in industry for a long time, so you've got shaft and hole type fits. You can apply a limit or fit to the dimension in various ways, and it's all derived from a standard table. We provide the table for you. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but let's have a look at the functionality itself. So close this one down for a moment, or permanently, because I don't need it again. And it really probably wouldn't be applied here, but it's we can use this as an example. So if I go back to my home here, and if what have we got set up? We've got I've got options in here, haven't I? So if I look for my class table, let's move that across so you can see everything. I've got some options in here. I've got a fit. So if I just use the fit, what am I going to get? It says 10 diameter. A10 is the whole standard I'm using, and all of these standards come out of a table. We'll talk about where that table is in a moment. I might say B9. If I change that, okay, let's edit that. Change that to a fit tolerance only. So I don't get the name of the tolerance set, but I just get the value. I can change that to fit with tolerance. So it's 10 millimeters is the whole nominal hole size. It's an A10 fit. A capital A means it's a hole. A lowercase would be you'll notice, or a lowercase would be the shaft, and hole with limits. So we can say, okay, we want to see that not as a tolerance but as a limit setting. And fit hole and shaft, if you're doing both those, will be there, or you can set up a user-defined one. It's usually with limits these are shown, and you want to see the standard in there as well. So where's this stuff kept? Well, a couple of places. There is a file Let me show you where this is. It's in the where Solid Edge is loaded. Program files, somewhere in here. Solid Edge ST4 in the program folder, and if we slide down to the text documents, we'll see a limits and fits. We've got one for ANSI, metric, inch, and ISO. If we open that up, it's actually quite difficult to read. It really is difficult to tell you what's going on, but it's fully described in the header. But there's another way to look at it, and this is how I normally do it. As I look at it as, I think I've got it in here, there we go. You can just drag and drop that text into a spreadsheet, and let's have a look at that spreadsheet. So now if we look at what were we dealing with? It was A10, I think it was, wasn't it? So if we scroll right back here, it's a big spreadsheet. So there's our A10, and I think we were 6 to 10 millimeters. So if we look, we've got the upper and lower in the A10 area here. So those two, 316.28. So the lower is 0.28, and 316 is the upper. You can change these if you want to, but I probably you don't, because they are the standard, so that's the ISO standard for those tables. But it just gives you an idea here how they fit. So you've got a number of ways of working with this information. And don't forget, if you want a very quick go here, so whole call out, pick that one up, and it's a countersunk. Very nice. So, moving right along, where are we? I managed to close down my slides, which is not too smart. Okay, there's been a lot of work done on Draft. As I've said before, every release we do work on Draft, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps on going, and it won't stop either. A lot of this comes from your requests. In fact, in last release, there's quite a few of them from customers in Australia, and I think in this one there's a number as well. This comment here, this is from the developers. We still have work to do. You know, when is it finished? It's not. We keep on making it better. So, look, thank you for your attention. Just a quick one while we're all here. I haven't got the topic for next one. It's probably something in the part mode, but I haven't yet nailed that down. But I'll announce that in the email that comes out. When is it? Thursday the 13th of October. Same time, same place. Look, thank you for your attention. Questions and answers. If you want to ask a question, on your little dialogue there is a type in area. If you want to type something in, I should have said this earlier, my apologies. Type in, and we'll see if we can answer them. If you think of something later, don't forget, give support a call. I'll be able to answer it, and a recording of this session will be available on our website as well. So, are there any questions? Are there any questions? So everybody understood absolutely everything. I'm really impressed. That's tremendous. I got a thank you from Peter. Thank you, Peter. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Providing you learnt something. I hope everybody learnt something. Can you send a link to the webinars on the web? It is on our website, and you'll see them directly there. It's just going into the website there, Peter. If you can't find them, ask the support guys. They know where they are. Can you tell us about hyperlinks, says Peter Simpson. Maybe in another session, but what do you need to know about hyperlinks? That's a very, very broad question. But I'm sure somebody could, if there's enough people interested in hyperlinks. Not sure what that means. A lot of thanks there from Joe. Hello, Joe. And John Belsham, I don't know who that is. It must be a new customer. Thank you, Peter. Peter Simpson. I will, in the next session, actually it's a good question that Peter Malqueen asked, will I put up a link? Yeah, I can show you how to get in there in the next one if you want to have a quick look at that. So if I make a note of that, or somebody reminds me with an email, in the next session I'll spend 2 or 3 minutes just adding that in. So link to the other thing you need to be aware of, guys, is the is your IT section can block you from what's called social media. So it's that can be a bit of a bugbear. So it's if you are blocked from social media, it's worth talking to these guys, saying that you're getting a lot of content that way. As you know, our support people send out videos as well quite often. So it's just a useful way of being able to communicate to everybody. So look, if there's no more questions, I'll get out of your hair. I'm trying to keep these down to about 35 minutes, so that you can sit and have a sandwich while I'm running it. You can have a bit of a relax and maybe learn something while I'm working. That sounds fair. Once again, thank you all for your attention. One here from Dale Roberts. Why did they change single node licensing? Do you mean node locked licensing? Yep, they changed all the licensing actually to a more secure form to try and prevent software piracy. Simple as that. No other reason. It's not draconian or anything. We went from a 64-bit to a 256-bit coding system, and unfortunately, we have to do those things. It's not always an equal world. Okay, gentlemen, again, thank you for your attention, and I will see you at the next clinic. Bye for now.